This is AV SuperFriends Off the Rails, an almost regularly scheduled open discussion on audio and video in higher education. We'll sound off about our most brilliant ideas, our dumbest mistakes, and everything in between. And because this conversation will almost certainly go off the rails at some point, we'll end up covering just about everything else. And now, the AV SuperFriends. For February 21st, 2025, it's the best-sounding podcast in higher ed. This is the AV SuperFriends Off the Rails, episode number 104.
Whoa.
Good gravy. Broadcasting live from coast to coast and everywhere in between, transmitting across time zones faster than crummy hotel Wi-Fi. From the back of the rack to the front of the house, I'm Chris Decter, pushing buttons, flipping switches, turning knobs, and you're tuned in for another Friday afternoon podcast adventure. Get through that one yet. But first, let's say hello to today's panel of august AV SuperFriends with this one.
Oh man, my notes just crashed.
Well, you've got like 18 seconds. Yeah. So first, let's welcome a director of corporate impact from Kansas City, Jamie Reinhardt.
Well, it's impactful today.
Well, better that than impacted. Also joined by a forward integration engineer from Corvallis, Oregon. Say hello to Marc Kolozinski.
Lean into this real forward. We're going forward with all of our builds from now on. We're not looking back.
Only forward, never backwards.
Right.
Our networks only go forward.
We have one-way networks.
Unidirectional.
Yep.
Also joined by a senior markets manager from Greensboro, North Carolina, Mr. Larry Darling.
So I'm managing old grocery stores now?
Sure, only for seniors.
Hey,
Seniors markets.
so you're responsible for the banging soundtrack at the grocery store.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like this one? Like the
like
one
this
where
one. Very similar.
This one, yeah.
You want me to stop it? Hold on. I got this.
two right now.
It's very light.
Hold on, give me a second.
I feel like I'm walking by some milk.
Would you like to go shopping in 1979? Because if so,
Kind of, I do.
let's
The
see.
food was better back then.
Now we're all out of sorts here, so go back to this.
We're not.
And finally, let's welcome our Vice President for Human Factors from Bowling Green, Kentucky, Mr. Justin Rexing.
Oh, me. Yeah, we're breaking news. We're going to factor in humans.
Okay.
There's no AI there.
We're actually gonna listen to what these humans say they need, and we're gonna listen and give them what they want for once.
For once, breaking.
For once, yeah. All right. Well, good.
So on today's show,
Yeah.
we're going to discuss prioritizing capabilities of our learning spaces, and Marc has an exercise which will all cost you money, so get ready.
Better get out at least $100.
Let's see. And we're going to talk about, what are we going to talk about here? Oh, we're going to talk about why we have challenges with putting PCs on the same network as our AV gear, and sometimes that's fine and sometimes it's not, and
It's
a possible
not fine.
solution to that too, coming up. But first, some housekeeping, because we're going to do this every time. So first of all, if you're listening to this as recorded MP3, please know that we do stream live on Fridays at about 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. You can join us live on Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, etc. And we can take your calls during some of those shows today, which I do have that running today. So
Somebody, please call. What's the number?
yes.
Put the number up.
We had a jingle. I heard the jingle. I was
I've got
on
the
early.
jingle and there's a slate and all sorts of stuff. I'm doing
We'll
other
get
things.
there. Well, if you have your cell phone ready,
Jamie, find that little
watch
banner
this on
for
your
the
cell
bottom.
phone, then go
But
somewhere
they can't
else.
call in now anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
so.
so we'll get there.
Nobody's
All right,
gonna
don't put
call
that
us.
up. All right.
Not this one?
That's the one. Yes. Let's see. If you can't join us live, we still want you to connect with us on the socials. Follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Blue Sky, etc. And please don't forget to spread the word. Please share this podcast with your friends, colleagues, enemies, coworkers, perfect strangers, anyone else who might enjoy it. So when you are grocery shopping in 1979 and listening to that music, put extra stuff in their cart and then tell them about this podcast from the future so they can subscribe to that. That'd be a great way to
Checkout lines
do
are the
it.
best way
That's
to
what my
spread it.
daughter does. She just throws shit in.
And random people's carts?
Random people's carts?
Well, and mine, yes.
Oh,
Both.
okay. All right.
Both.
She had her own cart too?
If you do want to support the show, please consider donating. Your contributions help us keep bringing you the honest content that you love. You can find the donation link in this show notes of this episode or on our
Somewhere
website.
on there.
We do want to hear from you, so please reach out on Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, etc., or Blue Sky, or on just via old-fashioned email, which I get a lot from, actually, so mailbag at avsuperfriends.com. And finally, when you're listening to us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc., wherever you're listening to us, please go in and leave a rating and a review. Your feedback helps us grow and reach more listeners. Even if that review is negative, actually, it's kind of weird. It does bump
Anything
it
is
up
good.
a little bit there.
It's
so,
all good.
yeah.
Just put it all in there.
All right, so with all that
All
said,
right, we did it.
thanks for your support, and we couldn't do this without you. And now we're going to take a commercial break because we're messing with our format here a little bit. for a reason we'll talk about in a few weeks. But Jamie's here to tell you why it's important you write into us. He wasn't prepared for this.
As many of you know, the Super Friends have always been better received when we have more input from you. So, here's your chance. Send us a note at mailbag@avsuperfriends.com and get involved with the show. We're looking for some topics to discuss, some fellow nerds to talk to, or just general AV awesomeness to brag about. But remember, we'll probably steal your ideas. And I suppose we'd take some criticism, but that wouldn't be very nice. Anyway, drop us a note at mailbag@avsuperfriends.com and find out how quickly we ask you to join this nonsense.
I feel like we did a commercial break really early.
We did do it, and I just said why. So
You'll play along, Justin.
Yes,
You'll get there.
just really
Just go
early.
along for the show, buddy.
Too early.
You slept through all those meetings, didn't you?
His
All
notes
right, so-
crashed, Larry. He didn't have
My notes crashed. I've been busy. I got things happening over here.
things
I got
happen.
stuff.
Many
I have
things going
stuff. There's stuff happening too.
No,
Well,
Justin.
so now,
things.
and Justin, the irony is right now is going to be the little jingle we play that has you singing along. So now it's time for the news.
Yeah.
Man, Justin's
Very
so excited
exciting.
for the news. All right, so today's news comes from the
My
Zoom
mailbox.
marketing department. Yeah, comes from comes from Marc's email.
My mailbox.
And it's
Because we
and
didn't get it. I didn't get it.
None of us got this. So this is the secret email
Maybe it's
that Marc
complete
received.
bullshit. I don't even know. Maybe it's just spam. It could be totally
Mark's
fake.
got Teams rooms. I have Zoom rooms. Zoom sent something. Where is it at? I don't know.
So
Makes sense.
I dropped the PDF into the Discord for everyone to see that one, but it does say basically it's a form letter from Zoom that says, "Dear valued customer, starting March 2025, which is like in
It's like
7
a couple
days
hours from now. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you are, this may have happened to you already by the time you're listening to this. I don't know.
Yeah,
You
so,
might be listening to this, not knowing. 'Cause-
If you have Zoom rooms, hold on to your butts because it says starting March 2025, select Zoom certified hardware devices will enter their official old and busted phase and begin Zoom's new end of life
that.
support period. So
They're on life support from here on out.
it says if you need immediate assistance, please contact your vendor to purchase new gear. Stop calling us.
I mean, that was verbatim.
that's
You
how
read
I
it like
read
you
it.
could have at least read it.
And then there are 2 pages of listing of stuff that is going to be on the old and busted list. With
How's it make you feel?
lots of comments like no plans to update. So
Good luck.
that's cool.
And I mean, there's some Crestron, there's some Neat products, some
Yeah,
Yealink.
Crestron,
I mean,
D10,
there's some-
Extron, HP,
D10.
Poly,
Yeah.
Neat, Yealink.
And we're
Yeah.
not talking old products either.
No, there's some
Like,
fairly
of it-
new-ish stuff in that. I mean, shit, I may have ordered some of
Oh,
that
they're
stuff a couple
deployed
weeks ago.
somewhere. Yeah, they're deployed.
So, thanks. I mean, I guess they're doing
This
their part
is-
to stimulate the economy. I don't know.
This is the whole reason why I don't like Teams and Zoom rooms is because
This is the
cloud
reason. This
management
is
of
it.
that. Well, it's the main reason. At any point, at any time, your whole day could be ruined by Teams and Zoom.
It already is.
Well, I mean, if you're not
He
dealing with
means
it at
more
that
so
day,
than normal.
More so.
like Monday could be a terrible day for you, Mark.
Tell me
But
something I
it
don't
may
know.
not be. It may not be. It may be a great day. And it, so
But
like
isn't
for
that why
us,
we're in this to begin with? Like, you never know what's going to happen.
But see,
and this
this
is
isn't
just further
just-
proof of that.
this isn't just the. This is just the tip of the spear here. So behind that is the
mean tip of the
whole,
iceberg?
Hey, by the way, we're not supporting this firmware on your USB cameras, and the only way to update them is pull them off the wall and hook them to a laptop. And so, yeah, that didn't have a message. There was no warning. It just happened across our campus. So we had to go around and fix all of our Zoom rooms with a laptop and sneakers.
So there's part of me that believes that this is just Zoom putting
a
these
threat?
manufacturers on blast. Like, hey, you didn't pay your certification check, or it didn't clear, or it may have bounced,
Well,
or maybe you're waiting for
I've-
your tax deduction to come to renew your software or whatever it is.
I think it's opposite. I think
it's not end of
these-
life; it's end of certification.
Right. I think, in my opinion, that these companies that you see here, D10, HP, Poly, Neat, are like, hey,
That's
we
like everybody
wanna
from the commercial
sell
AV
more-
Reddit.
Yeah, we want to sell more gear. So let's tell Zoom to send this out And then everybody's going to have to buy our new stuff because Zoom's going to disable it. And then we're releasing some new stuff. And so now it's like
you think it's driving the market here?
1 to 2 year replacement cycle now for Zoom and Team Rooms.
I guess I'm getting what I wanted. The 3-year replacement cycle.
Plus your licensing.
End of certification.
Conspiracy theories.
Yeah, it does define end of certification here. The date the device will no longer hold Zoom certification. On this date, the end of life support begins. Will it keep working? But I think what they're saying is it may work for a bit longer, but at some point it's going to quit.
Get ready the next day.
Yeah, and
maybe not.
There's a big part of it is okay, fine. They want to keep things updated. They have security patches and things. And if you look through the notes on the reasoning why is because Android's out of date, Android's out of date, Android's out of date, Android's out of date. And
which is that's another show
topic. Yeah,
don't buy Android stuff.
That's your pro tip of the day. If it has Android on it, it's probably not pro.
It's not long term.
Yeah.
No. Jamie, look at it silver lining. If it has embedded Android, that means it comes with an already pre-included from the factory replacement date.
That's true.
Yes. That's
unfunded, but
you're not wrong.
You can look up every Android model and say, oh, it's going to expire in 2028. I mean, it tells you right there. It's like Chrome. If you buy Chromebooks and things, it tells you within the OS, yeah, this is no longer supported after 2027. Like,
perfect engineered obsolescence. I love it.
That's in the future.
This is one of the things that really bothers me about the Rooms trends is that the certification process, in order to make sure it quote make sure it works, they have this certification. We all know it's money in the back end, but at any given time, right?
Where
it just quits.
Money right in your back end, Chris. That's what
somebody takes the money out of your back end. You know,
it's not what I heard the first time.
Backdoor residuals.
Backdoor residuals.
We fund our stuff only through the side hatch.
It has to be a liquefied finance system.
Liquefied backdoor what?
Wow.
All right.
Okay. We got there.
I don't like it that somebody else's decision can overhaul your budget, your finances, your inventory. That at any given time, if you bought 150 of these poly systems, and you're like, we're cruising. In 2 years, I've got to replace every single one of those or change my entire structure. And you had nothing to do with it. They may still be, quote, good products, working products that just can't do what you need
perceive them as working up until the software says they do not.
Yeah. And you're just beholden upon somebody, some corporate contract, some lawyer somewhere, some money exchanging hands, and you can't do anything about it. You're just stuck. And that bothers me a lot, that Microsoft now is my life cycle decision maker is Microsoft.
This one's Android, but yes.
This is Zoom.
Okay, but
your point is valid.
I get you.
Or Zoom, or Google. Somebody else says, nope, your life cycle is only 2.5 years. Oh, but I need 7. Tough.
How about 3?
If you haven't listened to the March on topic yet, ignore this comment. But you all were talking about not replacing the entire room anyway, only replacing bits and pieces. So doesn't this kind of fit that model?
Yeah, but all at once. Like say you have 500 Teams rooms, 500 Zoom rooms. Like that would be crap. That would suck.
It would be crap. I'm not saying it's a good model. I didn't agree with it then either.
Not saying it's the model. I'm just saying it's a model.
All at once.
But if you're okay, so it kind of does, but I'm not relying on some of these room systems with that kind of budgetary and replacement cycle in mind, right? I want to be able to replace any endpoint whenever I want because it died. Not because Microsoft decided not to certify it anymore.
The thing still works. Exactly, Jamie.
It still
works.
You got almost 3 years of still service coming out of there is based on the literature.
Yeah, they'll give you security updates, but you're not going to get the newest features. You're not going to get, all the buzzwordy stuff. And I think part of this is what they're looking at here is they probably have some big announcement coming up where they're overhauling Zoom's underlying, codec structure or something, and the older hardware simply won't support it, which is fine if they give you an appropriate runway of like, hey, over the next 2 years, this one's not going to be Zoom Plus certified, but it'll still work for Zoom. And then 2 years from now, they roll. I think there's a better way for them to do this rather than just like, here's a 4-page list of stuff. If you're on here, plan ahead. So.
This is they want to get off the 32-bit because they got to make room for Al. That's all it is.
And by the way, 1 of 5 of us actually got this, and we're all clients of this company.
We have Zoom rooms, and I didn't.
You're welcome, everybody. So if you didn't get this, you have it. You do. I think you do need to have a Zoom admin account to have received this.
Which maybe. I do.
Okay, I don't know. So maybe
not anymore, Justin. They fixed that glitch.
Yeah, you're out. They fixed enough bad mouthing, and they took you off that list. So I don't know. Does it just not feel more like PC World?
A little bit, yeah.
I mean, that's kind of it. Has shades of PC replacement cycle to me in here, and that's kind of what everything is anymore. So I'm not surprised. So.
No, not surprised. We kind of understand some of the reasonings for, like Chris said, it's updates, it's new features, it's AI, whatever Security. They're going to put in underneath. But it's just obnoxious that you don't control. You're just stuck.
You have one PC in a room, sometimes two, if you're a sociopath.
700.
There's multiple AV things in a room, so you can't just.
Let's not go making this division again.
We can't just keep replacing 10 things to one PC every 2 years because Zoom said so.
If I had more time, I would have loved to go through, put this list, feed it into our AI extruder, and find out when these products actually released. In their original releases, to find out how much life they actually would have had, because that would have been a relevant piece of data to this conversation, right? Yes. And so maybe these all are 10-year-old products. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
And so
I'm gonna bet they're
3.
Yeah,
I'd say
at the end of 2020, early 2021. I'm gonna bet that if we were to put a lunch bet on this, then I would be awash with Justin when he supports the block building. I'd just be washed out.
But
even if these one of the things
ain't happening.
Even if these things are, say 5 years old, and so you're like, yeah, I got 5 years out of it. That's that's less than I would have liked, but that's fine.
But still,
but even if that's the case, some of these will and still are on sale right now. So
yeah.
But if you have 500 of these things to replace, that's a lot of labor. That's a lot of work.
Just think of how much job security you now have. Yeah,
a week notification.
Well, it's not. They're not going to turn them off.
Last year.
No, you got 3 years to get a separate.
So yeah, to clarify, these aren't going to.
It's not the first time we had the big touch panel scare a couple years ago. We had to go through and replace all the touch panels, so that happened. So this is the next version of that, and we will see more of it. I think moving forward, like this is the new normal for these software reliant hardware pieces.
Another reason to get away from Zoom and Teams rooms.
I'm going all in. I'm doubling down.
I'm only WebEx rooms, Justin. Only WebEx rooms with Cisco.
WebEx is fine. They don't really update anything anyway, so.
Just figured out a way to make it work, so we're going to keep running it.
Was that too low?
That was kind of low, yeah.
It's not untrue.
We can get lower than that, trust me.
Right. Okay. Well, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about what are we talking about here? When we come back, we're going to talk about
get your money.
Marc's got $100, and everyone give Marc $100, and then
I'm going to give it
tell
to
you more.
The other people, and it's not
some sort of pyramid scheme here.
This is a funnel plan. Everybody get on board. Let's go.
Who is in my downline? That's what I need to know.
Well, you guys are going to figure that out.
We are the downline.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think I am. So, all right, we'll take a quick break, come back, talk about that.
Hey, you! Yeah, you with the weird AV issues that need fixing. Listen up, because this is the last time I'm going to say it. Are you tired of your electronics acting like they were put together by a bunch of monkeys with soldering irons? Well, guess what? You're in luck, pal. Introducing Independent Amalgamated AV Integrations, where we barely meet industry standards and still manage to stay in business. Look, we know you have a choice when it comes to who handles your AV, but let's be real here. Are you really going to trust some slick-talking, overpriced company with your precious gadgets? I didn't think so. At Independent Amalgamated AV Integrations, we promise to half-heartedly install your stuff with just enough competence to not get sued. And if you're lucky, it might even work for a little while. So, if you're ready to settle for mediocrity and save a few bucks in the process, give us a call at 555-GET-OK or visit independentamalgamated.com. And remember, at Independent Amalgamated AV Integrations, we're just good enough to not completely ruin your day. Maybe.
I still don't know why there's police sirens, but
okay. The guy's on the street, Justin. It's theater of the mind.
Oh.
Always police sirens on the street.
Mm-hmm. Especially in my small town.
Yes.
Yeah, same.
So Marc's got $100. No, wait. We all owe Marc $100.
Marc's got $100.
Mark's got $100. Marc, explain what's going on here about this, using this methodology of determining what value we put on different capabilities of our learning spaces, given a $100 limit here. Oh, and Marc apparently just blew up, so he can't share stuff.
I think I'm kind of coming back, so I don't know.
There you go.
We'll see.
Are you running on a Teams room right now?
Yes, your Teams room is out of date.
My computer is I'm just using the Crestron touch panel as my computer, and unfortunately, it's Zoom room.
Are you using the Zoom Compute as your computer?
Yes. I'm not going to dare share anything in this because it's going to collapse my entire house of cards.
Do you want me to share this document or not? Is this a value?
No, we can talk about it. We'll talk if you want to talk about it. The concept of this exercise came from the old architectural exercise we do in spaces, or when you're designing buildings, doing the old $100 trick.
Isn't
where you got
the term is charrette?
Charrette. Fine. If you want to use correct terminology, go ahead. Mr.
I don't have a
Fancy
ponytail,
Pants.
so I can't actually use that term legally.
Charrette. And with all the talk about standards and what we're doing and how much we're spending on this and that and this, it maybe kind of harken back to are we actually spending the right percentage of our budgets on the capabilities that we're looking for in a classroom? And so I amassed a think tank of individuals to craft this document. It was nobody in this damn room, by the way.
Oh,
so useful people is what you're saying.
Yeah. And so I said, well, what are the common capabilities we see in a teaching and learning environment? They're often delivered by technology, because we could say we don't need any of this stuff. I get it. I know you could say, I don't need anything. I could just teach from the front of the room, Larry. And be totally successful with my active learning hot dogs and hamburgers class. And you're not wrong. You are not wrong. And so I amassed this list. I want to read through this list. And then the exercise is can we agree on the top 10 from this list of whatever the hell you guys added to it, roughly 20? And say, okay, if that's our 100% out of these 10s, could we categorize them correctly and spend that $100 accordingly on the top 10? How would we break down that $100 by percentage, right? And then we will not have time, I guarantee today, to go through that all. But that would then roughly say that's how we value the capability. Does it align with what we spend in a normal classroom? Whatever your normal classroom may be, I do not know. I don't know. You all will have to answer that to yourselves. But to me, the heart of the conversation is, do we even agree on the top 10 technological enabled capabilities in a teaching learning space? Yes or no?
I doubt it. I
probably don't. And so
probably don't.
That was the basis of throwing this whole thing off rails, shared this document out. Let's dive in. What do you think? So these are not in any specific order at all. They are just as tabulated by Al and given to us, because Al has all the juicy insights to what we're doing. Mm-hmm. This is what he said. So can we even agree? 1, large high definition display in a space. Do we need that? Yes, no?
Define high definition.
High resolution screens and projectors for clear visualization of content, ensuring all students can see detailed images and videos.
Can we buy
properly
a low resolution screen today?
Don't know. I don't know. Do we need a screen? Yes or no? In a technologically enabled
display of some sort.
A display of some sort.
Yes. We do need that. Okay, good.
Most of the time.
I'm not saying, I did not say, can you teach in this room without it? I'm saying technology enabled spaces. Do we agree we need a screen? Yes or no?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
You're wrestling with that so bad. For one,
I just went. I'm waiting for somebody to argue with me about. No, we don't need it.
I'm saving that on speakers.
This next one's coming for you, Justin. So you gave it away, Larry.
Sound,
audio, and acoustic performance. High quality audio systems and acoustic treatments to ensure speech intelligibility and immersive audio experience. Microphones for students, whatever. Not just for remote, but for voice lift as well. Maybe separate category. Distributed audio. More importantly, for program audio. So do we need a sound system in a room?
Yes.
In a technologically enabled classroom.
So we have to remember that the things that happen on my campus aren't always my decisions. So I agree. Sound systems are important.
Yeah. Do you not have to speak for WKU? I would ask you to not.
Yes.
For legal reasons.
I agree.
Okay. So we're going to keep those top 2 for now. Computing capabilities with high-speed internet. So install computer with network.
Yes.
Yeah. Because what are you gonna?
So people are gonna say, "Well,
Jamie?
what about BYOD?" So
I'm all in with having network connections and a PC of some sort. Now, when you said it's an install a computer, they need a device with internet access that in order for them to present to the display that's available.
So we can discuss how we go about doing that, maybe
whether
when we get into that
BYOD
category.
or included, whatever. But there needs to be something like that with internet capabilities.
Okay. Larry, you agree? Disagree?
Larry's saying no.
Well, I agree with everything he said, except for it needs to be installed too. But that's
Well, so we're going to have some capability for computing
iPad
capacity
with
somewhere.
Wi-Fi.
That could
whatever.
work.
Okay. We value the capability, right? Okay. What about lecture capture? Do we need lecture capture system to allow recording and streaming of lectures, allowing students to review sessions after? Now, that streaming piece, I'm willing to omit from this, but though we don't have to. So this is like, do we need technology systems that cameras, microphones, something to record with in a modern teaching learning?
I don't think it's a necessity.
Need.
No.
Okay. But this is part of the exercise. But we like it.
Nice to have bucket.
So, Mark, in this type of exercise, I do want to point out, what if you have the wrinkle where in the previous one was, do we want some sort of computer in there, whether that's BYOD or installed, installed being the correct answer. If you do that, though, how does it affect if now, say, lecture capture comes with that because I'm running it as software?
That's part of the exercise when you get to the end, right? You said, I want these capabilities. They're need to have for me somewhere. Can you combine some of these now and pool your budgets? Since we've all given this money around it, can you team up with the people under you to take their $100 and make this a reality? I don't know. We'll find out.
We should do this again in a couple months, but like get one of those boards where we can move the cards around and stuff too.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so lecture capture?
Lecture capture.
We like lecture capture. Okay. Yes. Kristen, you're taking notes. Good. Somewhere.
I need to take notes.
Justin has been taking notes? Copious notes.
Jesus.
I thought we had Otter open. Did we not?
That's Al. Okay.
Al is listening.
ADA compliance. And when I say ADA, this includes like adjustable desks, hearing loops, screen readers. Maybe not all of them, but something we're going to spend in the name of ADA. Yes?
You have
not hearing loops.
Okay.
Not hearing loops.
You have to make acceptable accommodations.
You have to make the ability to add an accommodation.
Okay. So we're going to, we like that,
define that
as a capability. We're at least, we're going to acknowledge that. And I hope you all come to the conclusion that yes, that is the answer.
We all strive to have systems that support captioning, systems that support audio reinforcement direct into students' ear holes. So yes, that is definitely something I think that's high on the list or on the list.
Image magnification. Number 6 that I have here. I'm thinking dock cameras and iMag type thing, some level of something there. Is that a need to have?
Not necessarily. You can get around that.
Anymore, no.
You can get around that with a phone and computer, so.
It's in every Justin, space, you're still doing it. But it doesn't have to be there.
I'm just saying that, like, are we focused on the device, or are we focused on...
The exercise is, would you want to have it as one of your top 10 capabilities in a teaching learning?
But that's the exercise.
I want to acknowledge this as a need. Some way. We have to, there's analog stuff that needs to get into my teaching and learning environment. Yes,
what if that teacher doesn't have analog stuff? Maybe that teacher scanned in all his frog slides before class and put them on the computer in PowerPoint. No big deal.
Hey, yes, you could mitigate that through an effective teaching and learning group on your campus to do all that. So I want to have it. I want to have it there.
I would say this is the first one. We're at number 6 here. The first one on the list that I am torn on because by default I do this everywhere. But it is one of those things where if I have to start thinking about streamlining further, this is the first thing to go.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. I don't believe a modern system is not a need.
Okay, well that's interesting. Okay, so this one.
That said, unlike I think probably everyone else on this call, I'm in most of my standard rooms now. If the space allows for it, because it is an infrastructure concern, I'm installing 2 iMag devices, the dock cam and a marker board camera.
Whoa.
So
okay,
across the board.
Nice to have, but not needed.
In a modern teaching and learning facility, would we expect to have this capability? Yes or no?
We're throwing around a lot of different definitions here. Expect. Need.
I want it. I want this one, and if it gets kicked off the island when we get there, so be it. It's all about the percentage that we're spending. Remember, keep that goal in mind. So, okay.
I mean, yeah. It's nice to have.
You said your piece. You're done. Okay.
I heard him, and I quote, I mean, yeah.
Remote teaching, hybrid teaching capabilities. Larry, I'm not dying on a hill of hot dogs and hamburgers here. Talking cameras and microphones for like getting outbound from space. Okay.
Don't need it.
Only high flex. No hybrid. Larry's so angry.
No, like it's a nice to have, but I would rather outfit rooms that do it well than have it mandated it has to be everywhere.
Good point.
I think that's a really important piece, because if it's like on the line of like number 11 or number 10, you may not have enough money left over to do this the right way. So don't just buy a document camera and flip it around.
And aim it at somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you guys already said you're not buying doc cams. I'm the only one buying a doc cam, so I can aim it at people. So,
Well,
just stand really close to the whiteboard and stare into it.
yep. Look at that camera above the whiteboard. It's great.
So this is a nice to have, but not a need to have, maybe. If can be afforded correctly, you'd want to do it. But to afford it correctly, it means it makes nothing else affordable.
I like Larry's reasoning on this. Yes, I think this is a need to have, but only with the caveat that only if you do it right. Putting a $90 webcam on your teaching lectern and aiming it at the students is not doing it right.
What if there's only 2 students?
Okay.
No,
or worse.
Yeah, I don't think it's not a need in most. Okay. I'm thinking majority of modern day course rooms. It is not a need. It is a want. And in specific targeted spaces.
So let me ask.
We may have just now explained why the experience sucks for everybody. So
a lot of this has a lot to do with how your university is implementing policies around education.
You're not wrong.
Marc, for instance,
you are not wrong.
Like Marc may have to put a camera in every classroom where I get yelled at when I do, right? So it just depends on policies.
I'm just thinking. In a broad in broad definitions, in a broad definition of a classroom, what is a need and what is a want, or a would like, or a specificity.
I really, really want this, but I really, really want it correctly.
So let me raise this too, because I'm updating some rooms this summer that are the rooms themselves are 8 or 9 years old, but they got the magical COVID monies and they got cameras and microphones. But these spaces are not ideal remote, hybrid, whatever teaching spaces. It is not a good experience for people in those rooms. So I'm removing cameras and mics from these rooms and not putting them back.
Yeah.
So
I'm doing that same thing, but I'm actually just putting a webcam on the monitor for the instructor.
That's not correct, Larry.
It's not, but now they have something, so when I take it out, I don't get yelled at.
They're going to turn it around and go, oh, look, it's the audience.
Nope, they don't do that. If they want to do a full class thing, there are rooms on campus that do that.
You can't watch everybody.
So that one's interesting, because we'll see if we can afford that. And I have a sneaking suspicion that we may not be able to. Now, this next one, if we can see forward in the next list, I want to couch what we're going to say here. Collaboration technologies. I don't want to say what you have highlighted, Chris. I want to say like digital collaboration tools, group workstations to encourage student interactive. I want to say this as like active learning pod style. This may be more of a furniture play than what you had highlighted. Because I want to say
I was crossing that up because you have it down below.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not going to put that in there.
If it's active learning, it's exactly the same answer for me as the last one. If you're going to do it correctly, it's worthwhile in certain rooms.
Okay.
But Larry, I really want to half-ass this.
Oh, by all means, try to squeeze it down to 18 square feet per student and make it work.
I got a 4-foot diameter table, and I'm going to put 6 people around it. So there's 48 people in a room, and I'm going to put 3 projectors in that room. That is now active learning.
Which architectural firm are you working for right now, Chris? Because it sounds like a lot of them. Yeah.
I have that room, and I will happily share those documents out as the world's second worst active learning classroom.
Oh, I got the first one.
No, okay. I have the first one too.
So student collaboration is one of those things where it may not be needed everywhere, but if and when you do it intentionally and do it right. Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
So, and that's an interesting one, because from the standpoint of collaborative technologies, are we all on board with, like, you can have a very successful problem-based learning, active learning space with tables and chairs and whiteboards. So
yes.
Well, that may speak to the one after this next one, because this next one, Chris, I know you're going all in on.
I am. I've spent $100 of my money on this next one.
Virtual and augmented reality.
Yes. Every room. I'm removing projectors and displays. You walk in and there are some Googles on the desk that you have to strap to your face hole.
You don't just hand them out in the hall. You have one student whose whole job is to take them and then take them back and clean them, or you just leave them dirty?
No, we hired the same people who work at the movie theater, and they collect them afterwards and they wipe them down with the same rag that then they hang it back up in the restaurant.
Greasy fingers.
Yep.
Yes. Okay.
This doesn't even make the if you're going to do it right list.
Yeah.
This is just don't do it.
Just flat out no. So, but now let me stretch. Harken back to the on trial episode. What if I put a QR code up there and have you as a student scan that and take me somewhere else and have some other thing? It may not. You're not
That's
wearing
worse.
it. Is it worse? Okay, so you don't want that either.
Yeah, that's worse.
Are you
That's
talking
a
about
QR
second
code on a
screen stuff,
whiteboard
or-
to
Yeah, second screen / it's augmented. Is it not?
Oh no, gross.
Let's not get stuck on the language here. Okay, moving on. That's a
I
hard
thought you were talking about second screen stuff where you want to be able to, like that second content stream, but
Yes. Is having a second screen in your there not augmenting the capability of the room?
Mark's vocabulary likes to be stretched a lot.
yes, because that's not what augmented reality means, and you know it.
You haven't
I'm
noticed
trying to get you on
that.
technicality. Okay, well,
This is not.
I'm leaving it.
No.
It's out there. It's not needed. Moving
It's
on.
not a
Okay.
need.
But what if I do want to visit Spain?
Then
There
go.
are
Well,
ways.
then
Oh.
you just missed it. You could have been a part of an organization that would have taken you there if you would invested.
Why
enough
is
money and
ISE
time.
not held entirely virtually if that's all people are doing? So I'm just throwing that
Anything
out
in
there.
Spain should just be virtual.
I don't think Spain exists. I don't think it's real.
Spain as a country is virtual in itself.
Okay. Yes. So this next one, if you take flexible furniture, I want to remove the group work thing. Do we need movable furniture and tables?
You got to
and
have
all
somewhere
that?
to sit.
Yes.
Well, we need
chairs
we
and
need
tables.
chairs. Okay.
The chair has to move out from underneath the table.
Does it though?
Does it? Yeah, I don't.
Don't you have
Why?
things called tablet armchairs? Because I've got
We have
thousands of
table
them.
moves of
out from the
classrooms.
chair.
Built in
And it is
1963
modular, isn't it?
with chairs this wide. They're
Does it
stuck
move?
to the ground.
Is it
stuck to the
bolted to
ground?
the floor?
Fixed.
They're stuck fixed to the ground with the little the
Remember the
That
exercise.
stupid thing?
If we could afford flexible furniture
A
in here,
modular arm that turns
Do we
into
want
a
it?
desk.
You're
I
starting
think
to
it's more important
be more like
than
Mark
the
and
tech
stretching that
collaborative.
terminology.
collaborative.
No,
If the space has collaborative uses, we want to have it.
I think it's more important than the technology in those spaces. So this goes higher on the
Yeah,
list for me.
I think it also lends itself to how the space is being programmed for
This is like-
for teaching. So
Larry's Maslow's
Hierarchy of
hierarchy
furniture.
of needs in a teaching learning space.
I think there's some gross overdoing of furniture, but furniture and activity and
you
tables
guys feel
and
like you guys
chairs.
sound like you're working for an architectural firm all of a sudden.
These are extremely important for a learning space.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it is.
And so those are neat. Now,
I mean, butts
how-
in seats
how
is the
flexible-
drive, is it not?
How
I mean, we need
flexible,
seats to put
how
those
they
butts in.
would- Exactly. So I do feel as though the furniture and the space and that is all extremely now. We, as usual, usually it's overkill or it's completely in the wrong idea of you can move this anywhere. No, that's not what we need. Places where people can sit, be comfortable, and do the task at hand. Whether it's teaching.
Do you
or
want
learning.
it coming out of your AV budget?
Oh, it never does anyway.
I do. I do. Yeah. I
Okay.
do.
Oh,
wait, you're going to pay for
Because you want to control it.
I want to control it. I want to have a seat at the table. No pun intended.
You have to bring
where
that
I
seat
can
with
fight
you.
for the square footage per student, and I can say, if this lecture hall used to sit 120, I can't make it flexible active learning and seat 120.
So you want to take that on as you're going to own it.
You're going to keep
I
that
would love to.
as a budget item, but not getting new monies.
Say,
Oh,
Larry's
okay.
gonna- all the FF&E budget is Larry.
Fine. As a power grab, Larry, we're going to give it to you. Okay. So this one I had a
North
hard time.
Carolina money.
This one, the adaptive learning to me makes it.
what number are we on?
This is number 11. This makes
Well,
it
you have to,
feel
you have to
like-
read these. 'cause
I know.
no one's
Number
gonna see
11,
it.
adaptive learning technologies, AI-driven tools, and personalized learning experiences based on individual student needs and progress. This is not accessibility to me. That's not what this is. This is tools.
I get it.
Completely different that are this need, like really focused on the individual learner and it can adapt through them. And note you have in there by way of the LMS. Is this an LMS play?
This is a learning technology, not a classroom technology.
Yes.
So is it even the same budget?
That's what I was about to say. I want
know.
this because I don't have to pay for it.
So you're willing to highest thing you need, no money going towards it.
I'll put this at number one, and you
Number
get
two,
$0 towards
it's
it.
this and then chairs and then everything else. As long as you're not
Chairs,
paying?
no, chairs are secondary because we have standing rooms.
No, okay. Standing room only.
Lean. That's right.
Standing meetings.
But no, I think these things are cool. But to your point, and that's why I put that little comment in there. This is something that's coming through the LMS or coming through some sort of campus-wide, site-wide, site license. Everyone gets access to it, etc. So these are important tools for the teaching experience, but I wouldn't think they're part of a classroom space.
That's fine. Cool. But they should be accessible by way of web page on your compute.
On my
Yes.
computer.
Okay. Right.
Lots of things are acceptable. That doesn't mean I pay for them.
You're not. You can do whatever you
But you
want.
say
I'm not paying
acceptable
for
or
it.
accessible?
Acceptable.
way.
He's not paying.
So the neighbor's dog is antagonizing my dog, so it's going to be a little noisy for a little bit.
That's fine. Man, we'll just
Hopefully
mute
you
yourself.
don't hear it.
Okay, next one. This is
we
going to be
can
the
hear
one
it.
that we're going to get all bent out of shape on here. Number 12, BYOD personal device support. Is this a need to have in a modern teaching and learning space?
Yes.
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 Okay.
For presentation.
Yes. Well, that's what it says here.
For presentation, yeah.
To share content
Ability to share
from.
content from your personal device via either wired or wireless connectivity.
No.
You said
Wait,
a bad word there.
No. It is important. No, whichever way you
Wired.
do it, it is important.
Wired. Yes.
Okay, I'm not going to say it. We're gonna on-ramp it, and we're gonna say whatever budget we have towards it. We're gonna associate it correctly. So put that in the top 10 somewhere. That's what we're saying. Okay.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about the note I put below that, or are we going to ignore that and hope no one notices?
BYOM. Are we doing BYOM with this? So in a classroom, are we going to swing our entire infrastructure over to make it accessible for people's devices?
Only
Nice to have,
BYOM,
not
or-
necessary.
Yes.
I have the hardware to do this now, and I still don't want to do it.
Want to or do it, right? No,
So
it needs to be. I
nice
think,
to have.
So if
Jamie,
you're
pushing their
accommodating-
boundaries.
No,
Are you
we're turning a thing society.
That person can walk in that classroom, can email that document to themselves and open it on the classroom computer.
Oh boy! All right. So no, I'm gonna ask you this,
You don't
Jamie. So
need-
if you're doing BYOD support, are you automatically including BYOM in that
Not
in that
automatically.
capability?
I usually
So angry.
do, but I don't have to.
This feels like that USB-C conversation all over again to me. But I'll cede the floor to you, Jamie. Answer.
Yeah, no, I see. I group them together. I wouldn't even separate them.
Oh, you just acknowledge I'm in the wrong for putting them in two different categories. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, if you're bringing your own device, you should. It's bringing your own meeting too, right? Can I use my own device? I am always using my own device. I don't like using a provided device. And so I strive now I'm not successful most of the time. We all know the hiccups here, but I feel as though it's a need, and I keep trying to implement these things.
Is it not enough of a need because it's not budgeted correctly? Is that what we're getting at here?
I think the products and there are other
We have
obstacles
not reached
outside
maturity enough to handle this on our own.
That was my point. My thought was, I would agree in the objective sense that this would be a cool feature, maybe bordering on need, but it's like right there on the edge to do. But I don't think neither the most of the hardware we're deploying nor the users are mature enough to handle this, and that's my concern.
It is
And
a
if it's
maturity
not,
thing.
I don't want to put it there.
But I
that-
feel like it's so important that I keep trying to implement it. And to Mark, we're trying this Teams
fail.
room thing
I'm
because
trying, yeah.
Teams is everywhere and bring
it's
your own
one of
thing.
the uses, yeah. And I'm wireless only. I'm all
Look,
about getting rid of wired altogether.
I am not. I've
magazine?
not been super successful. I've had marginal success in different areas, but I keep attempting to do this because I do feel like it's important. I provide computers in every single space. However,
Technology's
I'm
not
that
there yet.
a-hole that always brings in my own. And so
But you know how to deal with that technically. I mean, you could
I do.
we could
and-
rig stuff up, and that's the problem.
And I still
is-
roll my
Daggers and
eyes, and
widgets.
I still have a heavy
Yeah.
sigh every time somebody says we want to do this multiplied, and I'm like, oh my god, no.
Okay, so
You're not ready for that. But
Well,
I do
so-
feel
so
as though it's
we're
important.
going to
and it's a
acknowledge this
need.
capability across
Yeah.
the board. We're going to spend something towards it.
So Jamie,
Yes,
this
that's
came up.
acknowledged.
This came up in a recent meeting with the entire College of Business faculty, and
It's always a college of business.
Yeah, and when they were driving, because college of business, they like to use their laptops as their devices as their primary source of content. And the request was they want to be able to conference. And yet, if you go back and look through our tickets, the place where we get the most number of tickets for people having trouble with their own devices is the college of business. So it's like, I get that, and I'm torn. And what I've been doing is the hardware I buy already supports it. But to your point, it's a little quirky, it's a little weird. So I have it there if I really, really need it, but I'm not deploying it by default.
But it's usually not the hardware's fault. It's usually
It's a management
the user's
issue.
laptop and the
Yeah.
user understanding how to set it up correctly.
The College
Which
of
you
Business
don't manage.
Yeah, the College of Business
Yeah, I mean,
has a
that's-
higher percentage of those adjunct, those not full-time faculty members coming in with their own, and it's their business laptop that they're presenting from, and there's management issues. And these are the things that why it always breaks down. This is
Justin, what are you eating?
But nothing good, but
gum.
See you know they're eating stuff.
Okay. We like it. We're going to have some stuff. It's a need. It's
a
in
need.
The, it's in the Maslow list of need to have for classrooms. Okay.
I just keep throwing money at it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, the exercise is we're going to have to eliminate 7 of these things in this list.
Holy crap.
I know.
7?
7. Next thing. This is an easy one. Easy victory here. Digital signage. Do your classrooms need to have the capability of being digital signage?
Yeah.
No.
Even mass alerts. I'll put mass alert in there. Mass alert in there.
Oh, crap. Mass alert.
I've decided that this, this tele protocol, where you can get a brand new television and it has a second screen with all advertisements all the time. That's how I'm paying for my budgets from here on out.
Just ad revenue?
Ad revenue.
Oh, no.
It's a captive audience.
Are you thinking about the mass notification piece in your teaching and learning class? You're not?
Nope.
Okay. All right, well, I would like to have this.
The system that we use for... So that Mark, so Mark, that was one of the items on our requirements for our campus-wide system for digital signage when we did that RFP about 3 years ago.
Ours does it.
So that's already there for digital signage, players, appliances, etc. But I'm not putting digital signage.
Somebody is screaming right now, but isn't that what you're doing in the classroom anyway? Aren't you just doing digital signage? Is it not a big display with information on it?
No,
it's not. But it's being managed differently.
It's different. Yeah.
This is a technicality.
I'm not scheduled.
We have to eliminate something. I'm willing to eliminate this one with you all, but I want to make sure we're unpacking it.
This is not a need, but I said
if I don't need lecture capture, I don't need digital signage. Yeah. Like, let's just.
You don't even need speakers, brother. So I don't even know what we're talking about here.
And I said in jest earlier, like, no, I want to, but in all honesty, I don't see any issue with when in non-use. Why can't some of these things display information and advertisements and revenue generation?
Can't you do that through the PC, through programming and other things and smart people?
Yeah, but it may be a low-cost victory. It could be a low-cost victory.
It could. Now, it's an organizational struggle to do any of that anywhere of success, and therefore it is not a need. But why not?
Hey, Jamie, I got a question. If the room isn't in use, doesn't that mean it's empty and there's no reason to have digital signage in it?
No. Yes, no.
It's not for scheduled curricular use.
There's a student in the back studying, Larry.
Yeah.
There's that one kid in the back studying, and you're just blasting him.
Did you know you could get coffee downstairs?
Yeah, we don't have a lot of areas.
Pepsi, the choice of whatever.
Okay,
for students just to chill, so there is actually a lot of eyeballs running around.
Okay. This next one, I had to provide some additional notes in here. So it sounded very nebulous, and it was. And it's advanced AV integration. And what I really mean by this is, do you need to have all of your stuff controlled by a control system in there to make a modern teaching and learning space work?
Maybe.
Yes. I will die on this hill.
Automation control system is a remote control.
AV automation and control, Chris, I think is the correct nomenclature here.
Yeah, you don't mean integration, you mean automation and control with a remote.
You're not wrong.
You can't. Yes, he is.
Larry, my rooms are fully automated. They just take 7 steps to do anything. So.
Oh yeah, you just have to walk over there and
push the button.
Then you have to call the help desk and have them walk another 7,000 steps.
So this one's been a challenge.
We're going to put a processor in every classroom, and we're going to connect it back to Astra so that it turns everything on and off by the classroom schedule.
Automatically.
That works. That fits.
The hell it does.
It
does not work. And why doesn't it work, Larry? I'll tell you why. Because people are humans and they change classrooms. Like, oh, I don't like this seat, so we're going to move over here to this empty room. And then
but
this
if that
and then
room doesn't turn on, they change back.
But I don't think it has to be either or. Would that be useful if your rooms were capable of doing that? Doesn't mean you can't use it if it's not on. You just turn it on.
I mean, I turn stuff off at night, but I don't like turning stuff on.
The opposite is true as also. If nobody's in there, do we want automation to turn things off?
We do that already.
I turn it off at 10 o'clock at night, and then we turn on the digital signage. Works better that way.
At 2 to 3 in the morning.
I don't want to need this, but I feel like you need some type of logic control in a modern teaching and learning environment, whether it be handheld or something or other.
So I recently deployed a couple of rooms.
What?
Mm-hmm. He wants a full control system.
I want some way to control things to make it easier and automate. I want it.
I
don't know if I need it.
Support.
Yeah, and support.
So I deployed a couple of rooms, which are These are small rooms, and they are scheduled and taught in as seminar rooms, which means it's a conference room for academic purposes.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing in there is a big display and a conference bar, and the PC, of course, like God intended.
Is there a camera at the back of the room? Looking forward.
No, there is not. It is table only, sir.
They struggle presenting their thesis in there.
Why are they presenting their thesis in there? Go down the hall to a presentation classroom. This is for seminar rooms. Get out. So,
sorry.
Yeah. But with that said, there is no control system on these. There's no control system on these because it is a super simple room. It brings cost down. We're able to do more of them. Mm-hmm. And they are wildly successful. People like them because they're like, I walk in, I push the button on the front of the display if it's off.
And it just turns on.
And it just turns on, and then I'm doing my thing.
Everything else is done by the compute.
Next thing you know, they got razor blades out, cutting buttons off remotes.
So you are this close to Teams and Zoom room, my friend.
There's no remote in that room.
Look, that was going to be like, how far are we stretching the idea of control system? Because some of these rooms kits and some of these PC-based things,
not the ones on the list from earlier,
have controls.
Are technically a control system. They're just not what we at AV traditionally consider
therein lies
a control system.
the practice here. Can you start to collapse and rethink of those as your budget may challenge you to do?
And I do think once you start getting outside of there's one display and one cable, yes, a control system. And even in these simple cuddle spaces, I usually have a tiny button panel that's doing something, right? That helps me somehow.
We like something here.
Yeah, probably. But I want to broaden it past it has to be a Tron.
Yes,
right.
I want something there for data acquisition. I want something that can feed up into the service desk, something along I really, really want that. It can be the display itself. It can be the computer. Yes, exactly. So I'm willing to acknowledge it as we need something that speaks to it. Maybe or maybe not. It's dedicated to hardware and thousands of dollars. Maybe there's simpler ways to go about it, but something in the name of that support and management. Fair?
Support, yes.
Okay. Yep. Moving on.
So student workers.
Standing outside looking in. What are you doing in there?
With their phones.
Look,
it's not working.
They're pressed against the glass.
That works.
Jesus.
But Chris, only for 3 years because their life cycle's done.
Because then Larry kills them.
Yes. These next three, I think, are the most, the ones that we definitely want as much as we can get of them. Number 15, interactive displays. Need to have them everywhere, right? Ubiquitous, everywhere you go, every display can be touched and it does something in response.
Is it
when we say displays, are we talking about on the instructor station on the wall the students are looking at? Because I have them everywhere on the instructor station.
Is an interactive component needed?
I do, because then if it's a hybrid class, they can use the apps and draw and project it on the screen.
So is this lumped into your furniture conversation? If done correctly? If doing it, do it right?
Correctly. Yeah.
But Larry, you're talking specifically about the instructor stations.
I'm talking about the instructor station only.
So your delta in price is very low. Yeah.
So we like to have the local computing device, but not necessarily
I don't even do that,
though
Larry's now got me reminding myself that I should probably start doing that just for the sake of doing it. But people don't use them as much as you think they do, but the cost is so low.
They hardly ever use them, but the planars are so cheap to do.
So related to the larger monitors, I've been doing a lot of interactive displays just because the pricing I get on those is less than a commercial grade non-interactive.
You know why? Because it comes with Android, so it's shit.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. Some of them do, but
I can guarantee you the 60 or so I've deployed recently don't have Android on them.
That's good.
All right. Okay, so is it obviously big projectors?
I will say, wait.
Aren't going to do this.
Interactive projectors. No. They can cram it with walnuts.
No.
Is there
try an Xbox controller with a camera?
Oh, the Kinect controller.
The whole Kinect thing?
Yeah.
Is there an interactive component in the classroom needed? I don't care if it's one of those little floor box Dance Revolution things. Is it needed?
Ooh, that's an interesting concept. Dance Revolution control.
Whack-a-mole is not interactive. It is a control system.
I mean, you're pretty much you just described Echo 360. Wasn't that like their whole the pressure things where you go and you stand and the whole thing? Like wasn't that their whole spiel there for a minute back in the day? Anyway, okay. Next piece, Justin, this screams every single class at WKU: environmental controls, lighting, temperature, ventilation, creating comfortable learning environments, shades, all that. Are we doing that?
No.
Jesus.
And I'm taking it out.
I don't think it's a need.
You want to adjust the lights, you walk over to the wall and you turn a switch on like a human. So
It's like a human. Okay. So this is probably not.
As part of the AV system.
That's it.
No,
the
not
clear
today.
delineation there.
Because here's the problem with it. All I'm doing is recalling presets, right?
Right.
And yet, who do they call when they want those presets adjusted? Like you. I don't even just knock it off.
I can't
turn on the
fix
lights.
that. Yeah.
Cross button. Get off my grass. Okay. So probably next one, final one I have on today's list, because this list will grow. However, for argument's sake, security and privacy. Now, this is not like browser. That's not what I'm talking about. Like access control systems, privacy measures to protect student data, ensure safe learning spaces. This is like FERPA stuff, enforcing that stuff, making sure that they feel comfort. Are we spending anything in the technology realm to kind of speak to that?
Well, besides blasting every one of their courses out into the internet 24/7, I mean, I don't know what else.
Say, I put a
want.
sign up that says you may or may not be recorded in this room, so I'm absolved of all things. It's great.
Yes, I do think that is a necessity.
Okay.
Some
Please acknowledge
security
it.
features,
But
whether
I'm
it's through your LMS, whether it's through access control in
I
certain
don't think this is
laboratory
us.
spaces. It's not necessarily
maybe
us,
not.
but
Okay. Some people say, hey, if it's in the learning space box, it's your problem. Like that's.
I think for us here, in the way our institutions are set up, no, it's not. But there are some other institutions where it's part of that lumped in, we do everything. And yes, I think it's important in the learning space.
Okay. Chris, did you capture any of that list for us?
Nope.
Damn it. Okay. Which ones do
I
we
got
want to
all
get
the
rid of?
notes. Al's
all?
got the notes.
Okay. So of those 17 things, which ones do we think we would actually get rid of?
AI.
Al?
Oh, wait.
Touch. Anything that's touchy.
No. The augmented virtual reality nonsense.
Digital signage. Cram
Okay.
it.
Digital
Yeah.
signage.
Okay.
Environmental controls.
Yep. That's
That
3.
gone.
Okay.
Security and privacy, I think we all agree is important, but I don't think that's us. So
No.
someone else's
Okay, I
problem.
can be convinced in that.
Same with where was that LMS one that was like, that's not me. Adaptive learning technologies. Again,
Yep.
useful, very cool, but not me. So
Not us.
Okay. Adaptive. All right. I mean, how close are we here? We've gotten, that's 1,
I don't know. How do you
2,
cut?
1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 3 more to have to come off this list to get to 10.
Lecture capture.
Ooh.
No.
Ooh. We're supposed to
See,
get
Hold on, Mark. I think you're missing.
I don't know if that's
I
a need.
missing them, Chris?
I am dropping
Hold on.
bring your own meeting before I drop that.
Bring your own meeting or bring your own device? Are we
Bring
separating
your
those
own
two?
meeting. They're separate.
Oh, interactive.
Nope.
Yeah, there you go.
They're
So we're at
separate.
5. We got to get 2 more.
I
agree with Larry.
Look, I'm saving money. Look at this. This is
wait,
great.
Wait. I don't know if that automation and that control system, that's got to come back, I think.
All right.
No, it
Yeah.
doesn't.
I was trying to sneak that
Yeah,
one
it
past
We
you guys.
at WKU can teach without a freaking touch panel, Mark.
You can teach
I'm
without
not saying you
speakers. It
can't.
doesn't mean it's the right way to do it.
I'm not saying you can't. I want like the broader sense, like if this is like the 80%, 80-20 here. Like if you're taking a today's normal classroom, are you going to deploy it without a control system, without a mechanism for support? Because if so, then we've been doing it way effing
So
wrong
why
for the
does-
last years.
A mechanism without support.
Would you put something in there that allows you to pull off the data of usage and
See,
be
we're
able
not
to
putting
support
those-
things on, off, automation? You're not doing any of that?
We're not pulling any data from these things. The only time we've done that, it was once in a dorm to actually see if people were using cable
I
TV
don't know
or
if
the
you're
HDMI
speaking for the
input.
masses here. I know
I'm not. I'm just saying I don't.
Justin, you have control systems in dorm restrooms? What?
We have dorms.
somebody-
yeah, we have to
somebody
put,
has to
Not the
monitor
control
that camera,
system,
Chris.
It's the
Yeah.
camera.
Yeah.
that-
we have displays in public areas in dorms, and they can't have remotes because they're in public areas, so we have to have little button panels there. So we started collecting data to actually see how much they were being used. They're not. So
We need to get rid of like one more thing here.
We got rid of 6. How many do I need to cut?
7.
Damn it.
We got to get rid of 7 to get down to 10 to give us round numbers.
Okay. Well, sorry. Whatever next one is. Classroom collaboration technologies. You're out of here. I don't know. I would guess, is IMAG next on the list?
yeah.
Yeah,
No,
Take it out.
I think it's
Lecture capture, take it
collaborative
out.
technology.
This
Gone.
exercise is easy for me.
You think it's a collaborative? I think it might be the collaborative piece.
That's not a standard thing. That's in certain rooms you can
Because
do that.
it probably represents the thing that if you're going to do is going to swallow up the bulk of the budget right away.
But isn't that the
That or
same
HiFlex.
with remote teaching, hybrid, HiFlex, et cetera?
Well,
Right?
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, maybe it's that. Maybe it's the remote teaching piece that we actually want to pull out of there.
Well, there,
But the
now
remote
I've gotten 8
teaching-
off of there.
The same equipment can do the hybrid, can do lecture capture, can do so many other things where the collaborative
necessity.
fights everything else.
Well, I'll give you, if you want to collapse
this is return
lecture
to classroom,
capture
Larry.
and hybrid as one thing, and we're going to deal with it that way, then we've gotten to the goal.
I think we can. It's the same tech.
In my systems, that's how I do it. It's all software.
So if we combine those, okay, so then that would leave us with large displays, audio, computer, lecture capture / hybrid teaching, ADA compliancy, image magnification, BYOD, and a control system.
Wait, you moved lecture capture under which?
It's part of hybrid teaching and remote teaching. They're the same systems.
It's all the same system.
It really falls under hybrid.
Hybrid, yeah.
Because hybrid just means you can view the class later.
Oh, I broke your formatting.
Fix it.
Oh my God, what's happening?
What did you do?
What, this document's all screwed up.
You killed my document. I have it in other places.
Trying to copy and paste. Oh, it's worse. What is happening?
And this is why collaboration technology is unnecessary.
Yeah. So for today's exercise, we did get down to 10 that we think are probably the most useful. I don't know if we would have enough time to actually categorize them to come away with an actual. Yeah, so you saw how.
If we had to break this up into $100 bill, we're going to be here for hours.
Right. Well, I want you to think about it. Maybe we'll revisit this. Maybe we'll work on this offline. We'll share that as an update in the future, what it may look like. And just think about it. And if you have ideas based on those 10 again, we'll post them in the show notes. If you think you could take a stab at how you would prioritize those capabilities from a round percentage number, I'm curious. And does it reflect what you actually spend on your classroom?
I think that's a really interesting thought, because you could probably say there's a disproportionate amount of money spent on a control system and not on. So
it may not reflect panels.
It may not reflect the market. However, it may give us insight of what we actually value.
I think that's the key. The market is different in that the document camera doesn't cost anything, so I don't spend a lot on it, but it's probably more important than. Actually, it's not more important.
Larry's arguing with himself.
Yeah. Sorry, there's a phone call coming in, so I'm muting.
I was distracted.
Well, okay. Well, let's take a break. We'll marinate on this one, and then we'll come back. We'll revisit this. And I'm curious if anybody does have any thoughts on that exercise, and was there any glaring holes in this list that we did not actually bring up? We want to hear those.
Students, those are pretty important.
Yeah, it's debatable.
Student workers or students?
Somebody did ask, what do you need to deliver? And I did say a well-trained instructor. At one point, I do believe a well-trained. So training, though I'm not sure we spend on that in the standard, I think is very important. Documentation goes a long way.
Yeah, instructional designers.
All right. Anyway.
Let's take a break, and then you can listen to a message about a very important technology you should all be implementing in your spaces at the top of the list.
Stop fighting a tangled web of Ethernet cables and power cords to PoE injectors. Are you sick of your network switches failing to provide enough power when you need them most? Well, buckle up, folks, because we've got something that will blow your socks off. Introducing the latest innovation from the brilliant minds who couldn't quite make it in the world of audio engineering. That's right, we're talking about gain-sharing PoE, the game changer in network switch technology by Independent Amalgamated. Imagine a network switch that not only delivers power over Ethernet, but also dynamically adjusts power distribution based on the needs of all the connected devices. Say goodbye to underpowered devices and hello to maximum efficiency. How does it work, you ask? Well, we've taken our expertise in microphone mixing and digital signal processing and applied it to create a revolutionary power distribution system. With gain-sharing PoE, the fewer devices you have connected, the more power each device gets. It's like a power party where everyone gets VIP treatment. And get this, folks, our patented Surge Amp technology ensures that power is available to your devices at lightning speed, with just a few milliseconds of delay. It's like magic, but better. So, if you're ready to take your network to the next level, look no further than our advanced managed network switch featuring gain-sharing PoE. Because when it comes to power, we've got you covered. Visit our website or call now to get your hands on this cutting-edge technology before it's too late. Don't wait. Upgrade today and join the power revolution. Gain-sharing PoE from Independent Amalgamated.
I send 100 watts to all my cameras.
This is the most spooky one we have, I think, out of all the ones we made. That one freaks me out the most.
Because it might almost be real.
Yeah, you're like, wait, isn't that just what PoE does? I don't know. Now I'm confused. Okay.
All right. So last one here was kind of more of a question. And I think we phrased this as PCs living on the same VLAN as our AV gear. And why can't we do that? Or can we do that? And if we do that, what are the pros? What are the cons? And why is this always such a contentious topic? And then Jamie has a solution so it doesn't need to ever come up ever again.
I want to say, I have a dream of all this stuff living on one happy VLAN. Not there yet. Really? Oh, wow. Well, I do. So I would love to unlock the potential of all my stuff being able to communicate with one another and not need outboard widgets to create the connection betwixt those two devices.
Nope.
I'd love to unlock the full application level potential of a teaching and learning space with my computer in there as connected to all my peripherals. Would love it. That is not USB.
I am in support of. So I guess the network architecture of that, whether it's on a VLAN segment, doesn't matter as long as it can cross said boundaries.
Yeah, I guess you could architect, but is there a definitive need to have these VLAN barriers at this point? In this modern day and era, in the classroom we just designed, because we all agree we need a computer in there, does it need to be on its own separate VLAN?
From what? From like we're talking VLANs, and
I'm not saying how it is today. Does it need to be that way? I believe this is a legacy-based thought process that has got us here, and we're just fighting it. And I don't
feel like this is
to me the answer is not, well, I don't control the PCs. That's not the question. That's not what I'm asking.
I do control the PCs. I don't control the network. This isn't the hill I want to die on.
But it doesn't need to be on a separate VLAN. For what reason?
No, it doesn't. But it's not on the same.
Is it more often than not on a separate VLAN?
More often than not, I think it is a legacy thing, and I think it is due to organizational structure and different groups managing it. Like, I'm imaging my computers, and I don't want to affect AV systems or whatever. And I think that's where a lot of it comes from.
If I plug up a computer to the network in a classroom, and then I start plugging up AV devices to that same network, it's all going to be on the same VLAN. Like, there's no separation for us, but we take all the AV devices offline.
For a couple of seconds. It'll work once.
So I have separate VLANs for all the above.
And I think that is what I think a lot. That's like if I had to make a bet, that's what things look like at large.
Yeah,
you have computers on VLANs, you have machines on others, like different
some of it's
appliances.
It's purely managerial, right? So with the AV VLAN, now I can use any computer and get to this devices within the AV VLAN area. Right, they are trunked, they are connected. It's the enterprise, right? We can communicate, we can get specific things, right? But the computers, as they connect, they're on their own deals. So the telephones are on theirs, and this is on theirs, right? But
time for this, okay?
Yeah, I would love to have the application layer of all of our stuff. I would love to be able to use a single network port on a computer and get the video and audio ins and outs.
Isn't that like the dream?
I would be really close, but it's all again, we're back to this management thing. It's whether it's PC management, whether it's security management, whether it's something blah blah blah. Doesn't matter. Management. It's just like your wireless network in your is usually a different VLAN. However, it has access to all the same crap that
not through access control.
So when you personally through management
because I'm in a special
can log
bucket
into the wireless and connect to all that. So it's now a management issue. Not
I can, you can't.
Is this a fear-based decision? We are afraid of people being able to get into our devices and cause malicious things to happen.
I don't think it's getting in devices. I think as much as interrupting. In my case, anyway, it's interrupting the experience. If someone all of a sudden all the Dante mics go down because there's some sort of spurious traffic coming from the PC or something.
Now there was guidance too. Yeah, there was guidance back in the day where the Trons of the world said, "Oh, we recommend a wholesale, separated, isolated VLAN so that we're not having traffic crossing. The streams were not crossing." And that was old guidance. Do we still live in that world?
Yes.
I don't know if we ever lived in that world.
It was in like their training classes. They recommended their AV control and management be a wholesale separate VLAN immune to traffic that's going on on your network.
And the irony here is that I did it for the other reason. It's like I did it because I'm using JPEG 2000 and I'm using Dante and I'm using A67 and it's pretty well contained with all the multicast protocols within its VLAN.
Now you're talking multicast. Mark was talking control traffic.
Yeah, I think the statement still stands
AV traffic.
Yeah, AV traffic.
AV traffic.
All
so
AV traffic?
All of it.
Potentially.
Justin. Yeah, every bit of it.
So
could we not live in a happy world
control
together?
Traffic we put on the network all the time.
Yeah, I know. But on a separate VLAN or on the same VLAN that your PCs are managed on?
Yeah, but not the media.
Okay.
But I separate it more so that my accidental crap from my AV devices
Jamie's
doesn't
the problem.
blow up somebody's, because some of our stuff use jumbo frames and some older computers and printers hate those and they will just absolutely puke all over their own shoes. So we have it separated that way. Now we can access all of it through our enterprise network with the right credentials and management, correct? Yeah. But they don't technically live on the same VLAN. They're on the same enterprise network, but segmented and management in a way to isolate the stupid traffic from the computer
non-mature traffic. We don't want that stuff getting over here.
Exactly.
I mean, we've had the conversation with our network core team, and they're like, nothing you're using is so bandwidth heavy that we can't support it on our backplanes. We have like massive backplanes, so it's not a traffic issue.
That's why I do it.
Like it's not that.
Yeah, but it is a QoS issue because to Jamie's earlier comment about say like printers or something. If my control traffic and printer traffic interrupts each other, it's not really causing a problem because that button press on my touch panel that I put in
right.
It gets there 27 milliseconds later, whatever. Right. But if it's a video stream, if it's an audio stream, that can start to cause problems. And that's,
I think when you get into the QoS application, I think it does change because a lot of them don't want to do that QoS.
And I think that's why the things get segmented because it's easier to manage that at that point to say, I'm going to manage this stuff completely separately. I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. It's all a management issue. It's not necessarily a technology issue. And I separate it now for management. That's why I separate it. And I control the IP addresses in this area, and I can do these things, but it's all in the enterprise.
Yeah,
I could do this. I just don't.
Do we need to start thinking more about it to do what we kind of started off with, to unlock that application layer that we're trying to get to in our service? Is the world that's architected on the benches of all these manufacturers a commingled world?
No, I don't think. I think they're still.
You think they're still
manufacturing? They're still manufacturing to an island world, not necessarily islands.
Absolutely,
but
they are. Yeah.
But
Justin, you shared that document the other day from a consultant asking or a programmer asking, what are the static addresses we're setting all these devices up on? And it's just like, well, that's stupid. You're already off on the wrong foot. So.
Yeah, like I'm not.
Those reserved addresses, but whatever.
Entertaining that.
Yeah. So interesting, but so that being said, we still have some need to get traffic from one of these segments to another, and we're starting to see some creative ways to do that. And Jamie, you've had some experience with the one we were toying around at the beginning of the show that's allowing us to kind of bridge those things to get more of that application layer experience, but with a widget.
Yeah, and so this is one of the things I've been wrestling with. Like one of the reasons I went with NDI 7 years ago, I did a whole building install with all NDI everywhere. Because I saw that, well, the NDI desktop application, it's for Windows, it's for Mac, it's for Linux. Awesome. We could truly get a video and audio feed in and out of a network port to all these displays and not have to have a bunch of interconnectivities. Now,
I'll forget the admin thing. We'll forget the server thing. We'll forget the multicast thing. We'll forget all that.
So now you can just bring the touch panel up on your computer, and now everything could just be controlled from the computer.
Well, I've got to be honest. What I was trying to get away from was Zoom, because at the time, Zoom kind of worked, but you didn't have as crisp of images, and sharing was kind of a pain in the ass, and you had some connection, and there was still licensing. This was prior to the bulk licensing of COVID, right? This was before
prior to the normalization of Zoom as Kleenex.
Yes, and what I really wanted was in my programs that basically from the computer and from the cameras directly, they just shot the NDI stream directly to the computer of the other place, and you had full bandwidth NDI images of everything. And it's what, 120 megs on a 10 gig backplane?
When you experience that NDI of that first time, and you're like, wow, this is going to change everything. And then you're like, wait a minute.
And then you start skimming NDI, and then it's like,
no.
Well, I got it mostly working. The horrible
mostly
part.
working.
Well, yeah, I can't get it straight in and out of a computer for management reasons.
For management reasons, right? For all the stuff we just talked about.
I'm still blasting it everywhere. And I could actually
Nobody's subscribing
today,
to it, but man, I'm flooding the network with that shit.
Oh, it's everywhere.
God. It's ridiculous.
Edge repeaters just blowing NTI everywhere.
Look,
no, I'm with you. I mean,
you guys
it's elegant.
keep making fun of me, but
I'm making
working.
fun with you, Jamie. It's different.
No. All you doubters and haters out there. Just because I didn't have some write-up in some newspaper somewhere. But newspaper, what is that? But one of the things is getting it on and off the application layer, Mark. That was the problem.
Exactly.
I could get the multicasting to work. I could get it restricted down into particular network segments. I could make all of it happen, except I couldn't get in and out directly of the computer.
Yeah.
Fine. So now I had to have a decoder and then some sort of HDMI to USB capture device.
Yeah,
this two little widget towns.
The stream to switch to UVC.
So we've been bitching and moaning on the show for a long time about, I just want to be able to pull RTSP or NDI or SRT or something, Dante AV, I don't give whatever. I want to pull that off and go directly to UVC device, directly to USB. Why can't we do this?
And no, the answer is not. Somebody, well, you could just open OBS and you could just bring out. No, that's not the answer. I'm not running OBS on my classroom computer.
Faculty
application
to do that.
level setup. It's profile based, so you have to reset it up for every single.
Yeah.
It's
not saying you can't do it.
No.
We're not doing it. Yeah.
We're not doing it
at scale.
So,
right.
I talked Lumens into sending me a demo of one of their decoders. They have this whole AV over IP substructure to their thing. I'm like, I don't really want any of the. I don't want any of the crap. I want the decoder because it takes those streams and creates directly a UVC stream.
Yeah.
And I was doubtful at first, and I'll be damned, it's working.
But they have it as an encoder and a decoder.
So they have an encoder also. I'm just using the decoder, but it pulls NDI off, makes it right into
They did send out something today on that product that went out, and there was some publicity around it. And I laughed because I thought of you when I was reading. I was like, this has to be Jamie's widget. And then looked at the schematic, and I was like, what in the hell's going on here? I couldn't even follow what was happening.
I'm more interested in trying their other stuff now, and I think we might even have a discussion with them because it is Lumens, so I use a lot of their document cameras and things, but it's not what you necessarily always think of as being the market leaders of anything. But
that's the disruptor potential here.
I think so, and I think at least the thought, and I want to talk to some of their engineers that says, okay, you're doing the things that everybody kind of thinks they want, and by God, you're actually doing it. Yeah, now, there's some firmware quirks that I think they could fix, and there's some other things, but my 4-hour impression of it today is, by God, it works.
Well,
Jamie, could you spend a few minutes describing the box that looks good, and it seems to work well? And
do we have that? We had the PDF, do we not?
I'm just looking for some very high level kind of analysis of this that doesn't get into the details of the technology at all.
It's a box.
It's a tiny box.
It's got network
cables in.
And a USB-C.
Is it gray or silver?
Hold on a second. Just whoa.
Well, talk us
Give
through
me
it.
a moment.
So when you talk to Lumens, though, weren't they like, oh, you mean you're going to use it for that? Like, why would you do that? Wasn't there a discussion that you had with Lumens that they didn't really know what they had?
Oh,
yeah,
right.
Looks like every other little black box like that.
It's just a little black box. Has network cable on.
Could you say the construction is the type that we would expect from Lumens?
No, it's steel with quarter 20.
It's got a quarter 20 on it?
On two sides.
That's too much detail. Back it off a bit.
Quarter 20 everywhere. USB-C to the computer. It's PoE enabled. It's just the typical black box you would expect from an AV over IP thing.
Is it USB-C powered by chance?
Yes.
Also as PoE?
Well,
so
well, hold on. I don't know. It has the power. It has the power outlet next to the USB-C. It has the power outlet next to the USB-C thing.
Okay.
But I don't know if that provides.
Charge your phone.
I don't know if it provides power or it can be powered by power, because when I plugged it in, I have a PoE switch, so it just fired right up. As a simultaneous HDMI out, look, I'm not yet ready to say that this is the second coming, but I think they're on the right track. And to Justin's point, question a minute ago, when I called them and I started asking about this, they're like, oh, wait, what are you doing? Because they wanted to sell me the AV over IP. They wanted to sell me.
Of course they did.
They wanted to sell me that this was Dante AV version. And they're like, oh, don't you want this to be encoder and decoder? I said, no, I just want the decoder. Can it work independently? And they went, why? And when I told them, I said,
I could use it. Yeah.
I have NDI cameras everywhere. And I now have to buy little widgets, in my case from Magwell, right, that decodes the NDI into some kind of baseband to convert it into USB. I said, I don't want to skip all that bullshit. I just want to go right in the computer with UVC. And they said, well, yeah, of course. The other part about it,
they went back and scrambled and just like, just ship it to him. Just ship it. Get him it now.
Rewrite the marketing.
If you use their encoder and not connected to a camera, just connected to something else, it also ingests whatever other video feed into it. Yeah. So it's now a capture device for other things.
Correct. I think that was a really and that's what made the schematic so funny when I went through their little room diagram, because it's both directions for these things, and you're like, what am I looking at? And it's all in a circle, and it comes back, and I can't even track this.
So I got the demo for one purpose only, and the website is a coaster. Normal website. Yeah. I wanted to see if it did my one thing, my one particular item, and it did that. Okay. And it has a control API that I'm trying to work my way through, but haven't had that much time yet. But now I'm interested in more. And we'll see what happens. And I think we might want to talk to them, because I'm curious on if they really are implementing USB-C and Dante AV the way that they say they are, and the way that I have experienced so far with just the NDI version. I think some of the other manufacturers need to be on note, because this box...
It's a good step in the right direction.
This box was actually as affordable and less so than some of the other ones that I'm purchasing to try to do the same thing.
Yeah, so
and we are not sponsored by Lumens, by the way.
No, so we are not.
We're always looking for these things that solve these problems. We just talked about that whole VLAN traversal and having to get out of that. So this is an affordable element that allows us to address those problems to unlock that application layer experience. What you're doing, I think it's awesome. I think it not having to be one of the big Trons or one of the big players and a disruptor who's willing to take a chance on a product to deliver something that people actually need. So I think it's awesome to see it. So.
Yeah, more to come on that. Maybe even some discussion with their engineers. But so far, 4 hours in, let's see what happens.
Working. We'll see what happens next week, though.
Although I just unplugged it, so now I got to restart the counter.
Yeah, the whole thing is going to collapse. So, well,
it's a one-time use.
We get it.
Throwaway.
Probably priced and such that it's not terrible to do that. All right, well, we're way over, so appreciate everyone sticking around for us here. We will have some more follow up from Jamie on this and all that fun stuff. And we're also going to revisit the $100 conversation, because Marc still owes me $100 for this. Because
I'm waiting for the people underneath you to send you theirs. Then you'll be fine.
Oh,
we'll be even.
Right, yeah. So everyone send me $100, and I will send some of that to Marc.
We have a donation tab. Just go ahead and send your $100 in there.
That's make sure it's multi-level marketing.
Nope. Reverse funnel system.
Funnel plan. Stick to it. All right. See you guys.
Well, we've managed to ruin yet another episode of AV Super Friends Off the Rails. You can contact us with questions, topic ideas, or general complaints at mailbag@avsuperfriends.com. If you complain loud enough, we might just invite you on the show.
Nice work, everyone. Sharp broadcast. Really good. Everyone on the floor as well. Really a lot of hustle. I liked it.
The opinions expressed by the AV Super Friends are solely those of the individuals and do not represent their respective institutions, organizations, companies, or clients.